player with Arsenal when football resumes?
Yeah, I think he has all the qualities to become a wonderful player. Looking at the club he is, it is very good to have youngsters when you are playing against them. The likes of Treni, the manager he's working under, that is Ateta, I think he want to groom young team. The likes of Arsenal, we see Saka, what he was doing before the season came to a halt. He was doing fine. I think training also could do the same thing if he is given the chance and he can excel. Because Arsenal, we know them, they are very good in nurturing young talents to bring them to be quality players.
All right, thank you very much. Seedou, Steven Gerrard, Dylan Huddle, Bobby Moore are one of the 50 best players who have never won the Premier League.
Well, I think it will go down to the memory lane as one of the worst experience they've gone through. Being one of the best players, leading your charges in Europe, out there as one of the best players in the country and
Steve
of your team.
Steve
McManaman with Real Madrid, but never won the Premier League. Steven Gerrard. So these are some of the things that they will regret not winning in their lifestyle. Most especially when it comes to Steven Gerrard. You know, you remember there was a time that he, according to news, that he will be, you know, at least be put into a Liverpool, registered in the Liverpool squad, at least if they are going to win. But Johan Klopp had said it clearly. Which player is he going to remove to replace Steven Gerrard with? So that will be another case in the squad. But it goes as one of the most difficult things as a player. Play your football career, being loved by the fans, played at the best peak or the best time of your career, and never won that Premier League. I think it is something that Steven Gerrard will regret never winning.
One of the 50 players is Xabi Alonso. It doesn't seem fair that in an era when Spain had midfielders as good as Xavi, in Andre Iniesta, David Silva, Sergio Busquets, and Cesc Fabregas, they also had Xabi Alonso. He could read and control the game, and his long-range passing as deep line midfielder was out of this world. He spent 5 years at Anfield and was an integral part of Liverpool side that won the Champions League in 2005. He only started winning league titles after he left Liverpool. Abdullah.
Well, I think Xavi Alonso is one of the greatest midfielder, like you just said. Kasim is one of the best playing for Liverpool. I can definitely remember staring in that Champions League final against AC Milan. I think sometimes Kasim, it is some players are just unlucky. The likes of even Michael Ballack, you just said he has never won the Champions League. He has been going team from team just to have that league, but it couldn't. Xavi Alonso, but I think he is better than, if you come to the types of lucky, yes, he is luckier than Gerrard. For him, he has won other leagues in Germany or in Spain, but he was not unfortunate to win the league in England. I think this has to go with unlucky sometimes, because looking at it, there are players who won it which he is far better than, like the Gerrard could have won the league because teams were following him, like Chelsea. He said he was very close to joining Chelsea. I was listening to that, but he was, yeah, 2007. He said, but by then he was very loyal to Liverpool. He could not play for any other team. So I think he is just unlucky with Gerrard. There are big names like Ronaldo, also R9 have never won the Champions League. You see, these big players, and they are one of the best players in Europe, in the world.
We hope to manipulate Premier League. Which team do you think is going to sacrifice and have the fit to appoint the Italian international? But in the other way as well, if you look into the Italian international as opposed to the Premier League, it's fruitful. Antonio Conte, Carlo Ancelotti, coaches that have won the Premier League.
They have good record in the English league, like you just said. Italian managers, they did very well.
Yeah, it is a question of whether he will take up the challenge to come into the Premier League and try his luck there. Yeah, to come. But now the question is whether the team will entrust him to give him the to let him give him the opportunity to showcase his talents in the Premier League. And before going that, I would like to comment on what Jallo had said. The head coach of immigration. Looking at immigration, it is third in the table standing, just 23 points, 4 points behind table toppers, and join second. So,
okay.
most
Is the number to send in your text messages or better still 9,096. Sports Center is live outside from Radio 96.6. I am Kasim
all
alongside
right.
Seedou, Sanneh and Abdullah Cham.
Kasim, I apologize for that interruption due to one thing or the other. Now that we are doing well last season in the second tier of Gambian football, and they came close to promotion, but at the latter stage, things could not go down well to them. And I could remember the last day of the season last year, the eventual winners of the league, that it was Banjul, defeated them in the last day of the championship by 4 goals to is it 1? So exactly that shows the kind of team they were last year. And coming into this year, it is 15 games played in the second tier of the Gambian football, and they have 23 points, another 3 points adrift, 4 point adrift of table toppers, Latrikunda United. So if the league could continue, or if things continue the way it was, perhaps at the end of the day, immigration would push very hard towards qualifying themselves into the first year of the Gambian football. But notwithstanding though, the coach himself was somebody who has got experience when it comes to coaching, doing an external coaching course in Holland, a country like Holland, and coming in contact and experiencing rather coaching tactics with one of the greatest players in Ronald Koeman. You could remember during his time at Barcelona, he was a good coach. Patrick Kluivert, who you could remember also was a very good player. And that shows that the kind of player or coach that he is. If he is to continue his journey, he would be one of the great coaches in the country. And I hope and wish him all the best of luck in his adventure as a coach.
Thank you very much. Among the players who have never won the Premier League, Robbie Fowler and also Gianfranco Zola. Gianfranco Zola was one of the first foreign players to come to the Premier League at the peak of his career. He had learned from the best at Napoli, training with Diego Maradona, and light up rather Stamford Bridge when he moved to Chelsea in 1996. He won 4 major trophies in 7 seasons at Stamford Bridge, but no league titles. The 1998-99 season is remembered because of the title race between Manchester United and Arsenal. United went on to win the treble rather, but Chelsea were also in the race for the title and lost just 3 league games that season. Chelsea were never in contention for the title in the remaining 4 years of Zola's time in West London, although he played a key role in getting the club into the Champions League in the summer of 2003. That same year, Zola was voted Chelsea best player of all time. Despite all that, he never lifted the trophy.
Well, I think Franco Zola
not only Steven Gerrard.
Yeah, he was also not fortunate to win the league title, like you just said. Like I just said, some of the players, their trophy list is down to unlucky, or you can see Zola was one of the most exciting players Chelsea have ever signed. I was not fortunate to watch him during his peak, but I used to watch some of his videos. He's a fine player, but to me, he was not just fortunate because Chelsea waited for 50 years before they win their first league title in 2005, and by then he was already not with the club.
Alright, from that, the last player we'll be talking about who have never won the Premier League is Gary Lineker. He is the match day one presenter. Always talk about the Premier League, but have never won the Premier League. Only Bobby Charlton and Wayne Rooney have scored more goals for England than Gary Lineker. Charlton and Rooney won 8 titles between them. Lineker didn't win one, not even at Barcelona. The closest he came was in his one season at Everton in 1985-86. Lineker scored 30 league goals, but Everton finished second, 2 points behind Liverpool. Everton had won the title the season before Lineker arrived, and they won it the season after he left. Then what Balak was just trying to emphasize has now come. Everton won the title before he comes. Everton won the title
after he left. You see, we can see that he was
He was not destined for
destined for
Yeah,
the title.
Just
sometimes.
like Ronaldo of Brazil.
Definitely.
Hunting the Champions League. Left Real Madrid, joined Real Madrid for the Champions League, couldn't win it. Went to AC Milan, I think loan. That particular loan was ended and AC Milan won the Champions League. That was in 2007.
Definitely. So
788-6966. Remember the question we asked you earlier on is Pep Guardiola's Barcelona versus Manchester, Alex Ferguson, Manchester United. Who is going to win your vote, and tell us why? 788-6966 or 9000-966 are the number to send in your those text messages if you want to be part of the program. Away from that, we still continue. Let's just give our listeners some transfers because fans are very much, they are always happy to know what are the new players coming into who are the new players that are coming into their clubs and the players that their team want to sign. Right now, Manchester United are considering replacement for David De Gea, according to the BBC Gossip column. The 29-year-old Spain goalkeeper signed a new 4-year contract in September. Despite that, they are looking for a replacement. It seems that the Spaniard is unsettled at Manchester United. The Red Devils, Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspur are all interested in Lazio Serbian midfielder Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, 25, according to the Court of Search newspaper. Liverpool are prepared to make a move for 17-year-old Brazilian forward Talas Magno, who plays for Rio de Janeiro side, according to the Vasco da Gama Star newspaper. Arsenal could also Liverpool could also swap in for Arsenal left back Bukayo Saka, with English 18-year-old contracts talks on hold at the club right now. The Red Spanish midfielder Pedro Chilwell, 22, will join league and side ends when his contract at Anfield expires this summer. Those are some of the transfers. Arsenal might lose their youngster Bukayo Saka, according to the paper, to Liverpool.
Yeah, I think as Tony Adams said, Arsenal's recruitment, last time he criticized Arsenal's recruitment system, now it has come. Bukayo Saka, who has been one of their phenomenal player this season,
they might lose him to
Liverpool. And
maybe after COVID-19.
Bukayo Saka is just coming in. And you've seen the players that have come through the Gunners youth rank. So perhaps let us just don't start talking about him. Let us just wait to see in the next 2 seasons to come what the player have got to give. But we are seeing a future talented player.
Watford have followed Brighton, Aston Villa in publicly opposing the use of neutral venues in the Premier League proposed project restart plan. It seems teams are not in for this neutral venue.
Yeah, I think Kasim, Oscar, looking at the players, they also depend on, and clubs also depend on these stadium tickets for the allowances and also some salaries of staff and footballers. So most definitely, you played playing home and going to a neutral ground sometimes, though it is due to the unfortunate global outbreak or pandemic. But most definitely, it does not favor most of the teams, most especially after their fans traveling out. Instead of having that pride of coming home to support my team, now I have to go into a neutral ground where it will be 50-50. So these are some of the sad or disadvantageous moments of COVID-19. But I hope and believe they will rather play at home and it be in be it in cluster or whatever. But I think it is most enjoyable to play your game at home.
Alright, thank you very much. Let's just have some round-up on the European stage and come back to the studio with your text messages. Keep them coming on 9000-966 or 788-6966, better still 793-9812. Manchester City will prefer to let winger Leroy Sanneh enter the final year of his contract rather than letting him leave cheaply for Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich have been interested in Sanneh for 12 months, with the player understood to be keen to return to Germany. Pep Guardiola sees the 24-year-old as a key part of his squad, though. While it is not out of his question, City will sell if the price was right. Speculation regarding 35 bid from Bayern is understood to be very wrong. BBC Sports understands a bit in that region for Sanneh, who is ready to return after spending all season on the sideline recovering from a knee surgery, will be dismissed out of hand. according to the BBC newspaper. It is accepted that City will not currently be able to command £100 million. They are looking for at least for last summer, but they will still require a significant offer to consider selling a player who was a key figure in their 2017-18 Premier League title winning squad. City are understood to be relaxed about the situation and are happy to keep Sanneh next season if no deal is agreed between Bayern Munich and Manchester City. Ronald Koeman, Netherlands manager, feels fit as a fiddle after chest complaints. Netherlands manager Ronald Koeman says he feels fit as fiddle after being admitted to the hospital in Amsterdam last week with chest complaints. The former Southampton and Everton boss, 57, had successful cardiac catheterization, said his management company. Koeman said on a Twitter, "It was a bit of scare, but doctors were quick to help me and acted wonderfully. Such an event really helps bring you down to the earth," he said. His wife, Bettina, had told the Telegraph newspaper that he had been taken to hospital by ambulance after feeling unwell at home. Koeman added, "It was fantastic for me to see how many people show compassion and how many sweet messages I have received during that difficult time." Moreover, on Sports Center, Manchester City, okay, we have did that. Just give you detail of the story. Manchester City parent club is close to making Belgium's second-tier outfit Lommel SK the ninth club in its portfolio. The City Football Group (CFG) already has stakes in clubs playing in the United States, Japan, Australia, China, among others. There has been no official comment, but it is understood the CFG will wipe out the club's $1.75 million debt as part of the deal. City owners Abu Dhabi United Group have majority stake in the CFG. Significant stakes are also held by American and the Chinese organization. SK Lommel were sixth in the table when Belgium's season was ended because of the coronavirus pandemic. Moreover, on the program, and now to Italy, three members of the club's support staff have tested positive of the COVID-19. Neither club named the players who have been tested positive. Italy has begun to ease its restriction after an 8-week lockdown. Serie A clubs have returned to training, but there has been no decision on when the league will resume. In a statement, Fiorentina said the club has proceeded as per protocol to isolate those involved in the testing. Away from that, and now to Germany, still with the COVID-19, Bundesliga will resume behind closed doors on the 16th of May, becoming the fourth European league to restart following the coronavirus shutdown. One of the games on the day to relaunch will be the derby between Schalke 04 and Borussia Dortmund. Champions Bayern Munich, who are 4 points clear at top of the table, travels to Union Berlin on Sunday. Most teams have 9 games to play, with final weekend of the season scheduled for 27-28 June. German Football Association (DFB) said the season will resume under strict health protocols that ban fans from the stadium and require players to have COVID-19 testing. About 300 people, including players, staffs, and officials, will be in or around the stadium during match days. Away from that, we still continue on Sports Center before we get back to the discussion table. Lionel Messi and his Barcelona teammates return to individual training on Friday. According to the BBC.com, German Bundesliga is starting on the 16th, and the La Liga is also planning to resume football on the 20th of next month and finish on the 25th of July 2020. From there to women's football, Richie James and sister Lauren both making big impression in 2019-20 season. Chelsea, Richie James, and Manchester United women's Lauren reflect on football journey so far. I am extremely proud that Miguel tells Sky Sports, meaning a player, Richie James, the Chelsea player, has a sister playing in the Manchester United women's team. Sporting talent often seems to run in family, and that is certainly the case for talented young footballing siblings Lauren and Richie James. The duo have been impressive on the pitch for Manchester United women and Chelsea respectively, and their father Nigel runs a very successful football academy himself. Speaking of successful academies, Richie is one of several Chelsea graduates who has broken into the first team this season. In his case, after a string of impressive displays during a long spell at Wigan last time, the 20-year-old told Sky Sports